الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. So in our last halaqah we had talked about the beginning of the revelation. We had talked about Jibreel coming down and squeezing the Prophet ﷺ and reciting to him اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق, and the fact that when the Prophet ﷺ came back to his wife Khadija took him to Waraqa ibn Nawfal, and we were still talking a little bit about Waraqa and what happened after that. In this narration, the question arises, how could the Prophet ﷺ as a prophet go to somebody who's not a prophet, here for example Waraqa, and get knowledge from him? This doesn't initially make sense. How could a prophet go to a non-prophet and ask this non-prophet, what's happening to me? Why is this happening? And in response, the scholars say, because at this point in time, he didn't recognize even that he was a prophet. He didn't understand what's happening to him. And this shows us that knowledge is so sacred and so important that even prophets have no problem learning from non-prophets, because the one who knows is more knowledgeable than the one who doesn't. And therefore, even our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, even though he was a prophet, but he doesn't even recognize it now, so he goes to somebody who recognizes what is prophecy. And again, we need to realize the concept of a prophet was unknown to the Arabs. It was unknown. They had long forgotten how was Ibrahim inspired and what was Ismail's message. They just knew it was Tawheed. They didn't have the concept of prophets, just like Hinduism or other religions of our time. They don't have the concept of a human being communicating with Allah. And therefore, when he didn't understand, he went to, who did he go to? Waraqa. And Waraqa is coming from a tradition, there are plenty of prophets. Right? Waraqa was a convert, we said, to something that is, it's neither Judaism nor Christianity, let's call it Judeo-Christianity, right? It's his own understanding. So Waraqa understood what is a prophet. And therefore, when the Prophet ﷺ comes to him, immediately he recognizes, this is prophecy. And what you've seen is the angel that communicates with all of the prophets, and it communicates with Musa alayhi salam. And of course, he mentioned Musa because there's more of a similarity with Musa than with Isa, right? There's more of a similarity with Musa alayhi salam than there is with Isa alayhi salam. Now in that riwayah, in that hadith, Khadija says, or Aisha is the one narrating what happened. Khadija tells us the story of Waraqa, and Aisha then narrates from indirectly from Khadija that, because again Aisha never met Khadija, her conduit is the Prophet ﷺ telling as well, that shortly after this, Waraqa passed away. Waraqa died. I looked up as many books as I could in the classical references. I could not find any stories about Waraqa other than this, after his Islam. So we only have one tradition from the Prophet ﷺ when he was asked about Waraqa ibn Nawfal, and he said, I saw him in Jannah wearing beautiful garments, blessed with beautiful garments. Therefore, this shows that Waraqa was the first convert to Islam, and Waraqa was the first Sahabi, and Waraqa was the first person who died of the Ummah of the Prophet ﷺ, and therefore Waraqa has entered Jannah, and he is of the Ummah of the Prophet ﷺ. Returning to the hadith that we talked about, the long hadith of the first revelation, Jabir ibn Abdullah continues the story, and he mentions that after this time, the Prophet ﷺ stopped getting any revelation. Fatar al-wahi, the revelation stopped. Ibn Abbas says that for many days the Prophet ﷺ would wander around Mecca and the valleys of Mecca and the mountains of Mecca, wanting to see Jibreel again. But Jibreel would not appear. Some scholars even said this period lasted 2 or 3 years, but this is way too much. There's a riwayah from Ibn Abbas, he said 40 days. And another famous Sahabi, Tabi'i, Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri, said that this period lasted for many days, so 40 days, many days. That for around a month after, so this is the month of Shawwal, because it was in Ramadan when the revelation began. For an entire month and 10 days, the Prophet ﷺ is confused. I saw something, but I don't see him again. What is going wrong with me? And this is when he says, in the narration, he says, I was worried for myself. Meaning, he thought that he might be hallucinating. Something's going mad with him. He doesn't understand what's happening. And he would go to the mountain of Hira, expecting to see Jibreel again. But every day he would go and there's nothing there. Until finally one day, after we said around 40 days or so, one day the Prophet ﷺ was coming down the mountain, and he had come down and he